Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about I Just Want to Be Average, written by Mike Rose. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. So, in this work by Mike Rose, we're pretty much talking about an experience that he had, and he's in high school. He takes the test. And, even though he scores high on the test, he gets placed into vocational classes. Basically at the bottom of the barrel. Now, high school, there's different things that different things that go on in high school. There's different levels. There are college prep students. There are people who are just studying just to get their high school diplomas. There are people going to trade school studying so that they can go to trade school after graduating. And then there's like vocational students. And vocational students are pretty much the way that Mike Rose is describing it is the lowest of the low, right? Basically, students that most people have given up on. Teachers don't know how to teach them. They don't want to be in school. They're just counting the days to graduate. They don't want to be there. They want nothing to do with school. So, Mike Rose is there, but he's kind of like witnessing all this. Now, Mike Rose, he's not supposed to be in the vocational classes. He's actually, he's a smart kid. He actually tested really high. He scored really high. But the thing is, like, by mistake, he gets placed in the vocational classes. And he doesn't fight it. His parents can't help him out. No one can help him out. He decides just to stay in the vocational classes with the other kids. Now, the thing is, a lot of people don't notice is that this is a kid that keeps scoring 98 on tests in the vocational classes, but no one ever thinks to themselves, maybe we should put him in higher classes. He's scoring really high. The thing is, like, once you get placed in certain classes, most people don't, they don't look back or look at the progress to see who can leave or who can reach for higher, go higher or something like that. The way that Mike Rose describes it is that basically he gets placed into vocational classes. He's stuck there. He spends 2 years there until an Ivy League educated teacher comes in and helps him get out of it, basically, it's kind of sad that somebody had to come from an Ivy League school and help him out, knowing the school system he was in catch the mistake. So that was kind of sad. So basically, Mike Rose, he spent 2 years in the vocational classes, and he learns a lot about human beings and just living in society. A lot of the kids in vocational classes, they've pretty much there's this idea of I just want to be average. Now, this is something that Mike Rose talks about within his essay. Now, these kids who are in the vocational classes, a lot of them, they don't have the financial support. Their parents are not supporting them. These are kids that are probably coming from low-income homes, and they don't, pretty much they know that they don't have much of a future. Most of them, they don't want to deal with education. They don't want to deal with, calculus and, math that is hard. They don't want to deal with literature. They don't want to deal with writing. They don't want to deal with anything. They know that they can't go anywhere. They know that they can't test high. So they're just coming to school just because they have to. And they're just going to be average. Get out of school, get out of high school. If they can get their diploma, they get it. And if not, they don't get it. And they're hoping one day to get a job somewhere or doing something that they can do and live like that. They just want to be average. And in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of the world, I mean, getting a job, making your rent, paying your rent, and having enough money to survive, that's pretty much the average thing that a human wants to do. Do enough or succeed enough to live, to survive. And this is the bottom of the barrel. This is the bottom of the barrel. And Mike Rose, he doesn't fight it. He tests really high. Eventually an Ivy League teacher comes in and he pretty much rules the school with an iron fist. He really pushes the students. There's this idea within this essay of pretty much the mark you set for kids, the mark you set for students. That's pretty much what they're going to reach, right? And a lot of the students, especially Mike Rose, when he was in the vocational classes and the teachers weren't pushing him, his parents weren't pushing him, no one was pushing him. He just did the bare minimum. He studied as much as he had to get by, basically. And so this Ivy League teacher comes in, this Ivy League educated, energetic, ready to teach, ready to make a difference in these students' lives. he comes in, and he's teaching them. He's forcing them to learn. The kids can't bully him around because, in vocational classes, in certain high school classes, there's always a joker. There's always the kid that doesn't want to pay attention. There's always the kid that just always wants to cause a scene. So this teacher, he's not taking anything from anybody. He's pushing everybody, even the kids in the vocational classes that didn't want to do anything. They're working, they're writing essays, they're learning. It's like a sweat factory. They're sweating it out. They're getting educated, and they're being pushed to be the best that they can. So we kind of see Mike Rose pretty much leave that lazy, go with the flow mentality behind, and he eventually later gets into college. He does better in his classes. I mean, it was kind of too late because, he spent 2 years in vocational classes. He fell behind a lot, but his teacher helps him do better in his classes. It was hard for him, but he eventually gets into college, and he becomes, he writes this essay. He becomes an educated man, and he becomes successful. But his experiences in the classes, they reveal a lot about high school life, about how high school pretty much shapes a lot of kids' futures. Because some of the kids going into this high school, some of them gave up on life. Some of them, they went to school because, I mean, it's a state law to go to school. You have to go to school. Parents have to send their kids to school, so they went to school. Some of them who were good in sports, they participated in sports. Those who didn't have sports to rely on, who didn't have an education to rely on, they just daydreamed in the classroom until that Ivy League teacher came along and forced them to be better. The thing about high school, there's different cliques, and again, there are different classes of students. There are different levels of students. The college prep students, they're all about their books. They're all about motivation. They're all about getting A pluses and B pluses. Now, there is something really interesting that Mike Rose says within this essay about the students who are motivated by A pluses and B pluses. And it makes a lot of sense because there are a lot of students in the world. The A plus, the B plus, they will literally kill you. They will kill you for an A plus. There are students, there are kids that do not play with their grades, and getting an A plus is it's as important as eating a well done steak. It's as important as winning $1 million lottery. Some people don't play with their grades. They really don't. So you have the college prep kids that are all about getting into the Ivy Leagues, getting into Yale. You have the kids that just want to survive, and you have the kids that just want to be average to get a job one day. So you kind of get the American version of the class system, because there are the rich, powerful, and smart. There are we have the rich, the powerful, the smart. We have the middle class. We have people that are just getting by, and we have the people who are at the bottom of the barrel that whatever happens, they'll go with the flow. So you kind of see society in its class system, at high school, because before leaving high school, you kind of get a sense of who's gonna make it, who's not, who's gonna get by, and who's not, and who might not just I mean, sometimes before leaving high school, you might know who's probably gonna fall off the day after graduation. I mean, that's just life. So the essay, it's very revealing, and it's very interesting in that sense of what it reveals. That, like, from my own perspective, I think it reveals about us as human beings, and if we don't get pushed to climb for higher things, a lot of times we won't reach for them. In terms of analysis, in terms of deeper meaning here, it's kind of like the whole idea of just I want to be average, right? Some people, just want to be average. Some people just want to get by. And, in high school, especially within the United States, when you really think about it, when you're like 15 to 18 years old, 14 to 18 years old, let's say, you literally have to figure out everything. You got to figure out where you want to go to college. You will have to figure out what you want to be. You have to figure out where you want to live. You have to figure out what job you're going to have. You have to figure out who you are, what's your identity, and your body is going through changes. Your body is developing. You're going through hormones. You're trying to define yourself. You're trying to identify yourself. You're trying to choose your career path. You're trying to do this, that, and the third. And Mike Rose, he kind of paints a picture that for some students it's just too much. And some people just turn part of their brain off and just try to coast by, or just try to, go with the flow until they graduate, until they don't have to go anymore. So it really makes you think about life in America, how, a lot is placed on the shoulders of teenagers. And Mike Rose, he makes it out. He goes to college and he makes something of himself, but he can basically guarantee you by the way that he words his essay, the way that he structures the essay, that a lot of the students, the college prep kids, they went to college. The mid-range kids, they did mid-range things, and the people who are at the bottom of the barrel, some did better things, and some stayed at the bottom of the barrel, sticking to the bottom of the barrel. And that says about just life in general, and how some of us succeed, some of us don't, and some of us just fall out, basically. And yeah, so this essay reveals a lot. It's very interesting, and those are my perspective. That's pretty much my perspective on it, and just some people just want to be average. So that's what I have to say about this essay. That's all all on it. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.